Hello, everyone. Happy, what day is it? Thursday? Happy Thursday. I hope you're all doing so super well. I'm coming on to do a teaching and to announce my new checklist. So if you're catching the replay, please know the replay and to share any comments, any questions, anything that you might want to share that I can respond to. It might even inspire me to do a video teaching on that as well. So you're always welcome to write down whatever you feel like sharing. And I'm not sure if I am going to share this video on YouTube or not. I feel like I might actually upload this to YouTube because it's going to be a powerful teaching that I feel needs to be on YouTube. So in case this is streaming from YouTube or you're watching this on YouTube, let me know that you watched this as well in the comments below. Feel free to share any thoughts that you might want to share, any questions. And the special announcement that I have today is I've created a new checklist. I have several different checklists that I have, and I only offer them as it's appropriate. I don't offer them all year round. So I have a checklist that's called 101 Ways to Know You Need Healing Work. I'm thinking of discontinuing that checklist because I am not resonating with the word healing anymore or work. So if you really want it though, I can give it to you. Just reach out to me and let me know in the comments or message me. But then I have my Goddess Money Mindset checklist. It's a checklist that deals with a lot of money mindset beliefs. And then I have my wealth consciousness checklist, and that is to embrace a higher level of manifesting from a higher state of consciousness. And it's the next level of my Goddess Money Mindset checklist. And then I have a visibility blocks checklist as well that helps you know where you might unconsciously be keeping yourself visible, which is definitely not benefiting you if you have a business or something in which you feel like you need to be visible in order to get opportunities. So, and then this new checklist is my checklist, my higher self checklist. So this is a checklist that I want to share with all of you today who are watching. And this is a checklist that I felt really inspired to create because as you may know from my different video teachings, I've been speaking recently on the importance of this ascension process that we're going through and embodying more of our higher selves and so on. So today I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with that around the importance of embodying your higher self. Okay, so give me just a second to share this out and then we'll be good to go. So hey Jasmine, how are you? These checklists sound great. Yes, my checklists are really, really amazing. They're absolutely eye-opening. And it's really funny because someone who follows me, who actually participated in the first round of my Goddess Money Mindset program, she was like, I knew I needed to be in your program once I went through the list and I saw I had all these beliefs I had to work through and clear. So I was like, yay. And that's really what my checklists do, is really help you to recognize for yourself where you might have this misalignment or this resistance around a specific topic that you might feel like you're not dealing with, or that you might not have any resistance around. Okay, because a lot of times we think like, yeah, I'm good, I have no issues, I'm doing well here, and then when you go down this checklist, you're like, oh, check, and you're like, whoa, I've checked quite a few things on this list that I obviously need to release. So that's the whole point of the checklist, is to help you bring to your awareness, because we don't know what we need to release in order to move forward with our lives and create more of what we want, unless it's brought to our awareness. Then we can do something about it. Otherwise, nothing changes. So that's the whole point of these checklists, okay? So as you're coming on, please say hello. Again, if you're catching the replay, let me know you're watching the replay. So let me get into it. If it's your first time watching me and you don't know who I am, my name is Stef Ventura. I'm a psychic business empowerment coach, and I work with spiritual entrepreneurs to teach them how to deliberately manifest whatever they want in their personal lives and their businesses. And I do this because I love teaching people how to become empowered around creating their reality. And I have experienced through my own journey that everything is energy, and that we have the ability to influence our energy to get the things that we want. And getting the things that we want comes when we have that greater awareness around what our limiting beliefs are, what our fears, what our repressed emotions are, and releasing those things that are creating resistance to then make it easier for the things that we want to find us, or for us to be guided to them. And then it all just works out magically and synchronistically, and you get to have the amazing life that you desire. So that's really what I have experienced in my own life and how I empower people. And today I want to speak on, the importance of embodying your higher self. And then at the end, I'll leave you the link for the checklist. If you're watching on Facebook, it'll be in the comments. If I decide to upload this to YouTube and you're watching from YouTube, it'll be in the description. So make sure that you give me hearts and comments and likes and all the things, and subscribe and follow all the things so that you never miss out on my teachings, okay? So the reason that it's really, first of all, what is your higher self, okay? Your higher self, if this is a new term for you, is basically that spiritual aspect of who you are. So let's just imagine that here in the physical, in this human body, like you see me here on the screen, this is human me. This is the human version of me. But on a spiritual level, that spiritual energetic version of me is this much larger version of me that is connected to that source from which we all come, has that deeper connection. And that version of me is what I am connected to, and you have a version of yourself that you're connected to always, 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 okay? And so with this process of spiritual evolution that we're going through, which is commonly referred to as the ascension process, and ascension just means you're going higher and higher and higher to a higher consciousness, a higher kind of dimensional reality. And so this is basically the ascension process, okay? So the higher that you go in your consciousness and dimensions, you're connecting to source, where we all come from, okay? And so you have a greater understanding of things. You really see the connection between all things. You can manifest more quickly. You are more connected to this truth of unconditional love and infinite abundance and so on, the higher you are. So this is the process that we're all going through at this time, is returning to that divine truth. Okay, and currently, so right now it's March 13th, 2019, we're currently experiencing Mercury retrograde. And what that is doing right now, as is common throughout the years, we have many periods where the energy feels intense, certain things are coming in, and the energy on the planet is being heightened and elevated to try to help people shift into this higher dimensional reality, this higher consciousness, to help us move through this ascension process, okay? So as we are being infused with these energies, and right now there seems to be some solar flare activity, which increases it even further, and then we have Mercury retrograde. So all of this energy is coming in, because everything is energy. Science has proven everything is energy. So all of this energy is coming in to try to lift you up, to keep going on this process of spiritual ascension, spiritual evolution. And this is just the path that we're going to keep going down. It's just, there's no other way but to keep going up and up and up. You can't really go back. You're going to just keep going higher and higher and higher while you're still in this physical body, this physical reality. You're just going to keep going higher and higher. And so the reason that it's important for you to embody your higher self, the spiritual aspect of you, is because the energy is asking you to embody more of the energy, the frequency, the consciousness of that higher aspect of you that is connected to source, okay? And the energy is trying to raise you up to embody more of that, to connect more of that. And what's happening is that if you are resisting connecting to this higher aspect of you, this higher self, now your higher self is the part of you that, yes, is connected to source, all that is, all that stuff, but it's a part of you that really deeply knows that you're totally infinitely abundant, that you are unconditionally loved, and that you yourself are an unconditionally loving being, that you are truly capable of creating your desires, manifesting them into reality, into physical existence. You can have it all. You really can. It's the part of you that that feels completely worthy, knows you're completely worthy and deserving, that is, what's the other one you want me to say? That really truly embodies a sense of acceptance and oneness, okay? It's the aspect of you that embodies all these things, and the energy supporting you to try to return to that truth. But when you resist the energy that is coming in, trying to help you embody more of this version of who you truly are, and you don't accept that truth within yourself, then you create this resistance, and it feels uncomfortable in your life. It feels uncomfortable in your body, and it creates what's the word for it? It creates distortion in your life. It creates misalignment in your life. It's where you have setback after setback. It's where you feel like you can't really catch a break. Things don't seem to be going right. Things seem to be going wrong, and all of this drama is happening in your life and so on. Those things are quite often signs of what you need to release in order to embody more of your higher self. Those things are quite often signs in which you are still holding within yourself an energy of a judgment, of unworthiness, of lack of belief, of lack of trust, of lack of feeling supported or fear, and it's being manifested in your life through these distortions or through these misalignments, right? And so when you then have the awareness around what that is and you release that, then you get to embody more of your higher self. Then things get to go back to normal. Then you get to have peace and harmony restored. So this is basically, what your higher self is. It's that higher spiritual version of you that is connected to your divine truth. And this process of ascension is trying to lead us all forward in embodying more of this divine truth, because we're not meant to be living in a state of fear, in a state of self-imposed limitations, and so on forever and ever, okay? The universe doesn't judge us and try to push us into being a certain way. It lets us take however many lifetimes we might need. But the thing is that we exist in an ever-expanding universe. And so no matter what, even if we take one tiny little action forward in our entire lifetime, that's enough. And we get to move forward, and we're always going to move forward in some kind of way, because that's just the way things are. The universe is constantly expanding, is growing, so we are constantly expanding and growing as a result. So this is why we are expanding and growing spiritually, to embody more of this higher self, this divine truth, so that we don't continue to live in a state of fear and lack and struggle and disharmony, and instead come back to the opposite of that, which is the abundance, the love, the trust, the feeling supported, feeling totally powerful and capable, and so on. And we're shifting into that, okay? So the importance of embodying your higher self, if you haven't already caught on some things that I've already just mentioned, is that when you connect to this higher aspect of you and you actually embody more of it, and it's not like you're going to one day suddenly completely embody this version of you. It's a process that you continue to embody more and more and more of, no matter what, throughout your entire life. You're going to constantly embody more of this divine truth. And so the importance of embodying your higher self is for, number one, to discover your purpose. And this is in no particular order, as this is just the order in which I feel like mentioning it, but it's to discover your purpose, okay? Because the higher aspect of you that is connected to source, that is connected to all that is, can see what your intended purpose is, can see further down the road what you are meant to be doing in the many different areas of your life, to help you have that sense of fulfillment. Because when you know your purpose in the many different ways, not just your career purpose, but there are many purposes that you have. When you know your purpose, it gives you a sense of peace. It gives you a sense of fulfillment when you're doing that thing that you feel called to do. And so the higher aspect of you knows what your purpose is, or your purposes are, throughout your lifetime. So when you're able to connect with and embody more of your higher self, you're able to then know what you're meant to be doing in this moment, okay? Or as you go along your journey, the next thing and the next thing, right? It lets you know, when you embody more of your higher self, when you have this greater connection, the clarity that you need to discover your purpose, or the clarity that you need to move forward in a certain direction in your life. Because again, the spiritual aspect of you knows the path for you, can see further out. You as a human, your in a sense, limited in your perspective because you can only see so far. But this version of you that is connected to all that is can see the path, the steps further along down the road and knows the steps for you. So when you're able to connect with and embody more of this version of you, you then can tune into that clarity. You then can receive the guidance, the action steps, and it will let you move forward. You don't continue to remain in indecisiveness or in confusion, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know if I should do this or if I should do that and this and that, because that's what a lot of people commonly get stuck in, is that indecisiveness, and that lets you know that you're not fully connecting to your higher self. Because when you're fully connecting to this and you're embodying it, you know what feels right. You know what direction to go in, even though it might not make sense, even though you might not know exactly how it will play out, but you know what the right thing for you to do is to continue to move forward with your purpose or with this clarity or this decision or whatever it is, you move in that direction, okay? And so as you embody more of your higher self, you know, and you're able to tune into this information for your next steps or what you're meant to be doing or this clarity, that's allowing you to tap more deeply into your intuition. Because as you connect more powerfully and you embody this higher aspect of you that is connected to all that is, you're able to then receive that psychic or intuitive information that leads you to the next steps, even though you might not know, you know, how it will work out. It's just an inner knowing. That's a psychic ability, your inner knowing. And you're like, no, but it feels right in my gut, or it feels right in my heart. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You're allowing yourself to connect to that psychic intuitive information that will let you move forward with the next steps in your life, in your business, in your purpose, and whatever it is, right? And that's highly beneficial because we are spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings, and with this process of spiritual ascension and us being asked to embody more and more of our higher selves, more and more of this divine truth, we are also being asked to operate in a different way. We're being asked to operate in a way that connects us to the spiritual aspect of who we are, instead of doing it how we've traditionally done. Traditionally, as humans, we have been conditioned to think our way through things, to think our way, like, and solve problems in this way and mentally figure it out. And this is a very, not a bad way, but it's starting to become a little outdated, because it's not just the mind, it's that higher aspect of you, that inner knowing that can, on an unconscious, intuitive, psychic level, know the right information, even though you might not know how. And so this is what we're being asked to start operating from, is this state of doing things from an intuitive way. Okay, so it makes life easier, because I see a lot of people get stuck in the indecisiveness because they're trying to mentally figure it out, and they think, well, if I do this and this and this, and let me weigh the pros and cons, and let me, you know, see, you know, what people like the best and all this other stuff. I see that a lot in entrepreneurship. And you need to understand that as you embody more of your higher self, you intuitively know what the right path is a lot of times, and you get to move forward more quickly, and you get the best results because you're doing the thing that is in most alignment with you, with who you truly are. That is how you get the most results. But people who a lot of times want to mentally figure things out, they'll try all of these different steps, and they'll take a lot longer, and, you know, they quite often don't always get the results that they want, and so on and so forth. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a long way of going about things, instead of just knowing, like, hey, this is the thing, this is what feels right, and doing that and having, right, like, immediate success or success right out the door. You know, that's the more effective way of functioning as we move forward in this reality. And so that's what's being asked of us as we go on this ascension process, you know, and we embody more of our higher selves, is to lean more into this intuitive knowing and allowing that to guide us, okay? So this is the importance of it. It saves you time, it saves you energy, it helps you move through things more quickly, and yeah, it's especially beneficial in business, okay? Especially when you have a spiritual business, or a business that really you feel comes from your soul, which all businesses really do come from your soul, I feel, most of the time. If they're something you're really passionate about, they do. But it really is important for you to tune into this intuition, because that's how you get the greatest success a lot of times. Okay, So, because you're tapping into that psychic information that can see further down the road and see things that you might not be consciously aware of, but that the spiritual aspect of you, the higher self version of you knows, like, this is the best path for you. Does that make sense? So let me know in the comments. So also, why it's also important to embody more of your higher self is you release judgments. You release a lot of judgments that you have towards yourself, towards other people, towards the world. You release all these judgments because the higher version of you doesn't hold judgment. Remember, the higher version of you is connected to source, to all that is, to this source of unconditionally loving and accepting energy of consciousness. And so your higher self doesn't hold any judgment. As a human, you hold judgment, though. And so when you embody more of your higher self, you release all this judgment, and releasing that judgment allows for you to have much better relationships with yourself, with others, with family, with different things. And so this is how it's highly beneficial for you, because I see so many people be really significantly negatively affected in their businesses, in their health, because of poor relationships that they have. Because on an unconscious level, they hold so much judgment, which then creates disharmonious relationships, and the disharmonious relationships then affects them emotionally and mentally and spiritually and physically, and then it's basically no bueno. So this is what ends up happening, right? But as you release that judgment, then you get to have these better, more loving, more supportive, more reliable relationships, okay? But this only happens as you release that judgment and you embody more of this version of you that is unconditionally loving and accepting, okay? As you embody more of your higher self, you get to experience greater abundance in all levels, okay? And you can add abundance and wealth to that. Wealth is a form of abundance, but you get to experience greater abundance because, again, this higher version of you is connected to all that is, to that infiniteness. And so it knows that that's the truth of who you are. It knows that you're not really limited in any way, that you're not deserving in any way. It knows that about you. And as you embody that version of you and you really for yourself truly, truly believe and know that you are so worthy and deserving that you can totally have whatever you want, and that you really embody that frequency of that higher level consciousness of your higher self, you get to then experience that reality. And I see so many people on the spiritual journey, the spiritual path, that they have affirmations that say, yes, I am infinitely abundant, infinite abundance is all around me, and all this other stuff. And that's really nice that you practice that and keep practicing that. It does help in some way, but there's a complete difference between thinking it and actually embodying it. When you're just thinking it, when you're just telling yourself in a certain way, it's just like lip service is what it is. You're just speaking it. You're just speaking it, right? It's kind of like when someone tells you they love you, but then they're hurting you on the other hand, right? That doesn't make sense, right? And so, yes, you might be speaking it, and I'm not saying to stop speaking it, but it's completely different when you're actually embodying that deeper knowing, that truth, that frequency, because then you get to create that from that space. This is what I'm teaching at this time in my Money Matrix Magic program, is embodying these higher level frequencies to then create from that space, okay? And so when you're embodying this divine truth of your higher self within you, that you truly, truly are infinitely abundant right here, right now, even though it might not seem that way to you, and you really embody this higher level of consciousness and frequency, you get to experience that. All of a sudden, people give you gifts. All of a sudden, opportunities come in. All of a sudden, unexpected money comes in. All of a sudden, all these good people come in because you're embodying that on a higher level, okay? It's really important because we all want to have this abundance in our lives. We all want to experience the joy and the fun and the ease that comes with experiencing those greater levels of abundance, okay? So as you embody more of your higher self, you get to experience more joy and fulfillment. And you get to experience more joy and fulfillment because, again, you're not holding that judgment towards other people. You are more in tune with your with your purpose. You are, clear. You're not sitting there confused or paralyzed in where you are in this moment. You're getting to move forward. You're seeing progress. You're seeing yourself create things, And so this allows for you to really experience more joy and fulfillment, because this is what your higher self embodies. Your higher self is that really best version of yourself that you could ever imagine. That richest, most vibrant, most happy or happiest, joyful version of you that you could have ever imagined. And so when you embody more of your higher self, you get to experience that happiness, that joy, that fulfillment, that excitement, that passion about life, this feeling of success, all of these really great feelings that we desire to experience, we get to experience as we embody more of our higher selves, okay? You also get to experience more emotional freedom as you embody your higher self, because again, as I explained earlier, when you're holding judgment or when you're holding on to low vibrational emotions because of things that you experienced in your past, I know a lot of people choose to identify with low vibrational or negative experiences as traumatic. And so when you are holding on to low vibrational emotions because of these traumatic experiences or hard experiences that you have had in your past, it dictates who you are today as an adult. It dictates the kinds of people or experiences that you attract into your reality. It can create unnecessary emotional overwhelm a lot of times. And it really does affect you on this emotional level. But as you release those low vibrational emotions within yourself, the judgment, negative perceptions about what you're experiencing or others, you get to experience greater levels of emotional freedom. So when someone comes to you and says something to you about how, they think who they think you are, and they say, you're not really good at that thing. Maybe in the past, that person's opinion of you would affect you, but when you really connect to this divine truth and you release the need for people's approval or release judgments or release all of this other stuff, those kinds of comments don't affect you anymore, because you're like, okay, cool, that's your opinion. Whatever, I know my truth and I'm happy, and that's it. And you get to experience such a great level of emotional freedom where people are not constantly triggering you in some kind of way and getting the best of you. And that's really super important as we move forward, because again, we manifest our reality through our energy. And so when situations or people or circumstances are constantly affecting you emotionally and you're constantly allowing that to affect your energy, you're going to keep creating from that space. But if you are able to embody more of your higher self then and see the things differently and not allow yourself to be affected by them, then you don't create from that low vibrational space anymore. You create from a higher vibrational space, and you create more of what you do want as opposed to creating more of what you don't want, right? So this is why it's super important, because as I mentioned earlier, right now we're going through Mercury retrograde. There are solar flare energies coming in. We're going through this process of, spiritual ascension. So the energy is going to constantly be increasing and increasing and increasing, going higher and higher and higher. And so all of these energies are basically supporting us and purging out all of the low vibrational emotions that we have within ourselves that we're constantly, either consciously or unconsciously, holding back or repressing in some kind of way. And we can't do that anymore. In the past, people could get away with that to a certain extent. But now, because of the environment in which we're existing, where the energy is literally like pushing all of the darkness out, there is just no way to not get around that anymore. There's no way to get around that anymore. There, you have to release those emotions, and a lot of times people don't know how to release those emotions, and so the emotions then overwhelm them. Like every time Mercury retrograde hits, I see so many people, and I'm smiling because it's kind of funny to me because I used to be in that space, but I see so many people on my Facebook feed lose it. Like everyone is complaining about something happening, and they're feeling some kind of way, and this is going on, and it's just like an apocalypse on my Facebook feed from a decent amount of people, being super emotionally affected by the energies at this time. And I totally get that because that used to be me. But because I've done my part in releasing a lot of low vibrational stuff and embodying more of my higher self, yes, I still feel it, I still feel the energy to a certain degree, and I feel my mood and my emotions, like kind of get a little bit wonky, but it doesn't completely like slam me on the ground the way it used to, or the way it does for a lot of people. And so because it doesn't throw me on the ground anymore, I get to continue to move forward in the direction I want to go in with more ease and grace, and I get to have a better experience of that moment of purging than in the past, right? So this is super important. As you embody more of your higher self, you get to have this emotional freedom. This is an important message. You get to address these emotional things from a place of empowerment with so much more ease and grace than in the past, okay? All right, a couple more things and then we're done. So again, when you're embodying more of your higher self, you have more balance. You have more balance in all areas of your life because you're connected to your divine truth. So your relationships are doing better. Your finances are doing better. Your health is doing better. Your career, your business is doing better. Everything in your life is more balanced. You feel like you have more time freedom. You feel like you are not working so hard anymore, and so on, because you're connected to your divine truth. And so your divine truth allows for you to experience all of these different things, as I said, by releasing the judgment, having better relationships, or connecting to your divine worth and having greater abundance, or recognizing that you are inherently worthy and all-powerful, and you can create from your frequency, and so you don't have to work as hard anymore. You don't have to take as much action as you used to. So this allows for more balance in your life in all areas, and it feels amazing when everything is imbalanced, right? Okay. Also, when you're embodying more of your higher self, you're more effective in everything that you do, okay? Because you recognize that you're creating from your frequency, you're creating from energy. The traditional or normal human creates from their effort, creates from them physically doing things, and making it happen, and putting this together and so on. That is how we have been taught as humans to create our reality. But when you embody more of your higher self, yes, the physical action is still important and necessary to a certain extent, but when you're embodying more of your higher self, that energy trumps everything. Energy is above the physical action. Energy is what weighs the most here. And so you are able to then tune into the energies that are necessary for you to create what you want, so that you get the most from your physical efforts that you take. Does that make sense? So this is why it's super important, because you can either choose to bust your butt working 40, 50, 60 hours a week to make a certain level of income, or you can tune into your divine truth, embody more of this higher level of who you are, create from this energetic space, and work 20 hours a week and make the same kind of income, basically, right? Which would you rather choose? It's up to you. So you're more effective in the physical action that you do take when you embody more of your higher self, because you're starting to create, or you create from an energetic space. And that is most important, okay? So the last thing I want to share with you today around the importance of embodying your higher self is you experience so much more peace, freedom, and ease in your life. And by this, I mean that when you're connected to this higher version of you that is connected to the truth of all that is, that knows with unwavering faith that you are so loved and supported, and you are exactly where you need to be, and you are doing exactly what you need to be doing, and it's all working out for you, and you really embody this. You really know this with every cell of your being, that everything is going according to the divine plan, and that you're doing an amazing job right now, and that everything is working out. When you really embody this, you let go of so much control that you get to experience peace. You get to experience freedom. You get to literally live your life from a completely different space, because it's taken care of. Instead of continuing to be a regular human, no offense to regular humans, But a regular human is like, what do I have to do to get that? And oh, I'm stressed out because this isn't showing up yet. And what can I do to make that happen? And this isn't happening fast enough. And I got to hurry it up and this and that. This is how normal humans behave. And they have so much stress. And they don't really get to experience life fully because they're constantly thinking and doing and trying to make things happen and all this other stuff. But when you embody your higher self, you're relaxed. You're like, no, it's all good. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be present. I'm going to enjoy my life. It's going to be amazing. And life really gets to be amazing. You really do get to experience it on a different level because you're connected to this truth. And so you know you have nothing to worry about. You don't allow the things that are going on in your life or whatever it is to rob you of your joy, to rob you of the present moment, to rob you of the fulfillment of the journey, going through the journey. You don't allow those things to affect you anymore. And you're so much more relaxed because you really do deeply trust that everything is working out. It's life-changing to get to this point, let me tell you. Absolutely life-changing. It's a bit of a process to get there because as humans, we like controlling. That's what we've been taught. And it's a matter of connecting to this divine truth to learn to let go and just really flow through life because you know that the universe is always supporting you. Okay? Whew. All right, so this is what I have for you today for the importance of embodying your higher self. I'm going to share with you the checklist in just a second. Let me see if I have anyone else to say hi to. Hey, Naomi. Hey, Stef. Hey, Rosanna. Hey, Brandy. Thanks for joining me. Yes, it makes sense. Hey, Julia. You're so welcome, Julia. Thanks so much for sharing. You're so welcome. Thank you for the love. The checklist I want to share with you today, I really encourage you to download it, to go through the checklist and see what is true for you. And I am going to be sending you a few emails to explain some things on the list. I wrote one today and I was like, oh my God, I'm a genius. No, but it's really like me channeling. So it's kind of me, but it's like higher self me. But it was just an email where because what I do when I write these emails is like, hey guys, which one of these things on the list am I supposed to talk about today? And then I hear a number and then I go to that and I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. And so the thing that I picked for this first email, that's after the welcome email, is really eye-opening because I think a lot of people don't think that they do this, but then they actually do. And I gave a few examples of how it shows up for you. So if you want this checklist, all you have to do is go to my email below, not my email, but my website below. So that's stefventura.com/higher-self-checklist. And I hope that I can post this to Facebook because Facebook is acting a bit cray right now because of the retrograde energy. It was not working. But if you don't see it in the comments on this video here on Facebook, go to www.stefventura.com/higher-self-checklist. And there is where you're going to be able to download the checklist for yourself. If you would like to preview it a little bit, I also created a preview. So I will share the link with you right now here on Facebook. Let me just pull it up. And I will also, if I upload this to YouTube, if you're watching from YouTube, it will be in the description. So you can check the preview first because I know sometimes people are like, I don't really need this because I'm already embodying my higher self, all this stuff. And so sometimes going through the checklist can maybe make you see that there are a few things there, make you be curious to find out the rest of the things on the checklist, right? So let me just pull up this link and I will drop that for you and you can check it out. I think there are like 40 things on the checklist preview that you can check out. And if you would like to have the complete list, you're always welcome to download the checklist in its entirety. You got to sign up for that and you'll receive the emails that explain some of these things on the checklist more in depth as I feel inspired to write about them and share them with you. Okay, if you would like to embody more of your higher self, because like I said, it's really important as we go through this ascension process, the energy is just going to keep nudging you in the direction of embodying more of your higher self, of becoming more of the spiritual aspect of you. The more that you resist that, the more that you will feel that in your life. you will feel it, because your energy is going higher and higher and higher. And if you're not trying to go higher and you're resisting it, you're going to feel not good, because energetically the energy is at a much higher level and you're trying to stay at a lower level, and so it's not going to feel good. And when you're at that lower level of energy, you're going to manifest from that lower level space, right? That lower vibrational space. So it means that you're going to continue to experience misalignments or disharmony in different areas of your life. And so it's in your best interest to raise your vibration by embodying more of your higher self. So if you want to be supported in achieving this with my help, I invite you to sign up for my program, which I just launched. It's called Remembering Who You Are. And it's an 8-week program in which we're going to go through this process of really helping you understand certain spiritual teachings you need to embody more fully this divine truth, to really allow that to become part of your way of being. And as you do this, life gets to be amazing, and you get to feel empowered, and you get to recognize that you're creating your life. You're creating everything intentionally, and you no longer get to experience that disharmony or that misalignment in your life for much longer than you need to. You recognize very quickly, oh, I see why this is showing up. I see what this is really about. You adjust that within yourself. You raise your vibration, your consciousness, and you get something different. It's absolutely life-changing work. Like, it's always amazing for me to see how I help my clients do this, because they feel like they're helpless to external circumstances, people mistreating them, things not working out in their business, whatever it is, and they're like, I don't know why this is happening. But when they have this greater awareness and understanding that I'm going to be teaching in my Remembering Who You Are program, and they apply that in their lives, and they're like, oh, I see why this is showing up. I see what's going on here. I recognize what I need to shift. I recognize how I need to shift my perspective and so on. And they do this, they get a different outcome over and over again. And then they come back to me saying like, oh my God, this thing, remember that thing I told you about last week? Well, I did my part around it. I released the stuff around it, and it changed right away. And this is literally how magical it can be, because you're always creating your reality. Always, right? And so the more that you embody your higher self, the more that you get to create your own heaven on earth. You get to create your own utopia here, because it's just a reflection of this higher frequency that you're embodying, right? So there is the link in case you want to see the preview. And then there is the link for the full checklist if you want to sign up for that, okay? Thank you so much for your time. I send you all love. Have an amazing day. Bye.